Good afternoon. My name is Johnson Verghese. I've been in the business of watches, jewelry, and publishing, I guess, for more years than I care to remember. I'm currently the Vice President and Managing Director for Fossil India, handling India and the subcontinent. It's been an exciting journey, and we are now looking at something as traditional as watches transcending the digital space. So more about that as we go on. But I'm really excited to be here, both in terms of sharing experiences as well as learning from a lot of very interesting and engaged people at this forum. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dhruv Bogra. I am the country manager of Forever New. I've worked across many industries like watches, sportswear, kidswear, and I actually started my career in the tea plantations. So I've seen a large, wide width and breadth of businesses over the last 25 years. And my focus has always been on people. Technology is important, I really believe that, but I think the ultimate enabling force for any business are its people. So that's what my focus is usually on in any business that I serve.
Good afternoon. My name is Nihat Onuk. I'm the Director of International Business Development at Damat. We are a global brand having 400 stores throughout the world in 5 continents and 85 countries. It's my pleasure being here and being a part of this panel. And we have been doing great business in retail, trying to combine the e-commerce and online and offline. So I'd be really pleased to let's get into details of the possible developments. So it's my pleasure being here, and I'm giving the floor to my friends.
Hello, my name is Shaurya Seth. I'm the Managing Director of Trezor Systems. We started our journey in retail in 2012 with one store in Gurgaon. Currently, we have 30 plus point of sales in 15 cities across 5 states covering Northwest and East India. With the 250 plus employees working, we are a happy family, doing what we love and trying to, our aim is just to provide something new to our customers on a daily basis and a reason for them to come back to our stores to engage with us beyond mere transactions. So that's our aim, that's our goal all the time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vishal. I work with Adidas for last 3+ years. In my 18+ years journey, I think I'm more than technologist. I'm more of a person who's trying to solve problems with various different roles that I have performed. My focus is more on how technology can enable business and how we can transform and how do we separate the reality versus a lot of fiction that is there, a lot of crazy ideas which people come with, and how do we take learning from crazy ideas and bring them into reality, and how do we make it scalable. That's what I do day in and day out. Thank you.
So I think we have a brief presentation. So if we can just play that, it's just I think a 3 or 4 minute presentation that talks about the whole in-store shopping experience. One of the panelists from Fossil, Johnson has brought this along. So is it available to play?
So thanks once again. Let me see if I get the technology right on this one. Yeah, I think it's right. The bad news is that you're going to see stuff that you might have heard of today. The good news is that it's going to be very short. I promise you not more than 4 minutes all told. So you've seen a whole bunch of brands out here. Many of these brands have something in common. What is common is that they're all closing a number of stores in the US. Over 4,800 stores closed as yet, and we're only in the month of April. 5,500 stores closed last year. So is retail really dead? Different? Absolutely. Dead? Hardly. All of these brands also have something in common. They're all opening over 3,000 stores collectively this year. You would have heard a lot of these stats, as it were. India is a growing market. 60% is the increase rate that we expect in terms of the retail market expansion. We are expected to reach a US $1.1 trillion by 2020. Even so, 93% of our business is going to be retail. 7% is going to be e-commerce, as it were, at the end of this journey. The demand for retail space is exploding, and even more brands want to come into the country. So what's the road ahead for India? A lot of stores have, and a lot of companies have promised to have stores coming up, and the numbers are really awesome. And I think some of these numbers are outdated. I think Vasant Kumar spoke in terms of 500 stores, not 300 stores for Max. So some of these numbers are actually understated. My colleague Shaurav here is probably going to tell you that Apple's going to open a lot more than 6 stores. So there's really a lot of things happening out here. But what does that mean for us? So is this whole business of the retail apocalypse really a myth? Or is it something that we should be worried about? Unfortunately, no. And if all of us sitting in this room believe that, retail is just going to be business as usual, I think that's nonsense. And more often than not, it's going to be very dangerous nonsense for our business. So what's really happening? What's causing all these dramatic changes that we see in the business, the upheavals that we see on a day-to-day basis? The answer is just one. It's the consumer. The consumer, the customer is changing. And how is the customer changing? The customer is changing in really, really dramatic ways. Customers today want a seamless journey where they can do all of the following. They can discover brands, services anywhere. They can buy anywhere. They can pay anyhow, hopefully at the lowest possible price. They want products to be delivered anytime, anywhere. They want to return it, again, anywhere and anytime. So this is what the consumer expects in the market today. The point is the retail store really ready to deliver this? The retail store of tomorrow, the reimagined retail store of tomorrow needs to be tasked with this, needs to have all of this integrated into this new paradigm shift that the consumer's expectations is all about. Well, we are on that journey. So if you look at where we are at Fossil, there's a lot that we need to do, and there's even more, there's some that we've done and even more that we have to do. So this is going to be a journey. And this is not a journey that has a prescribed set of limits, because everything that we have here changes by the day. Automation is changing the way we are looking at business. AI is changing the way we understand our consumers. So it's not an end point by itself, it's a journey. And hopefully we're on that journey in the right direction. This customer experience business that we are talking about, what is customer experience all about? It's all about engaging consumers. And I'm going to ask you, have any of you tried to spend a day without your mobile phones with you? It's a pretty difficult day. So, is it possible for us to actually grab the customer's attention for that little short period of time that he's in that store and get him off his phone and get him engaged with the product? There are small things that we're doing in the area of customization and personalization. So we've done things like watch bar. It's not as interesting as a liquor bar, but it's something that you can put your watch together. You can pick and choose the module, you can pick and choose the case, pick and choose the strap, and you have your own watch. You can even do things like engraving, you can do things like caricaturing, you have little shopping bags that people want, all customized for themselves. So that whole experience of personalization and customization, an extremely important part of that consumer journey today. So, and one of the things I think we should take pride in and heed in is the fact that the reimagined store actually can do things that e-commerce perhaps cannot do. It can provide a sensory experience that e-commerce simply cannot. The sight of recently bloomed flowers, or a beautiful sculpture that we see in a store, or the taste of fresh fruit that we can see and taste in a store, or let's say, going to a music symphony and listening to the opera as opposed to just buying a disc of that. Or, when you look at it, the touch of water, cold water at a beach, or probably the sensory experience of touching and feeling silk or cashmere is a completely different tactile experience. The smell of freshly brewed coffee, hopefully that all of us wake up to. So all of this is stuff that we can do in our stores. The point is, do we? E-commerce will grow, but smart stores will grow also. And I think for us, it is the task on hand and the journey on hand is to get onto that smart store. I believe the store is dead. Long live the store. I'm going to hand you back to Rajat to take us from there. We have a lot more interesting elements to talk about, so thank you for this time.
So that was actually a fantastic prelude into the discussion, which is really that, while we say that stores are closing, we also see lots of new stores are opening. So the right type of stores are opening, the right brands are opening, which are connecting to consumers, which are speaking to consumers, which have the right price point, the experience. So it's always dangerous to look at it and one way and say, look at this news and say that retail stores are, we see all these flashes about retail stores closing all over the US and the West. But that's also probably because they overexpanded for the last 20 years. The big joke is that the next store, I won't name the brand or particular brand, will open inside that store now. Because there's so many of the existing stores that there's no room for them to grow on the high street. So I think that's a real issue. There was overexpansion, there's contraction, but at the same time we are seeing new stores opening up. So with that, I'm just going to get into the panel now and maybe start from your side, Vishal. Talk a bit about retail entertainment, or what we call retail entertainment, right? That today the shopper is not just entering the store just to buy a product because he or she can buy that online or any other place. But I mean, when they're walking into a store, they want a certain type of customer experience. Just talk briefly about that and what is Adidas doing to enhance that? You opened your new flagship stores. So just briefly on that, and then we'll go around the panel asking everybody to sort of give their what they're doing.
See, when we are talking about experience in store and the digital entertainment, as you mentioned, it starts from the consumer. It's not about taking a solution. It's not about taking a solution and then fitting that solution into your scheme of things. It starts from the other side. What is the consumer, what they feel about your brand or your product, and what is the kind of experience you need to give to them. It starts from there. And if you are trying to create an experience around it and use of technology, like for an example, something which is very close to my heart is the new field of mixed reality. We talk about AR, VR and all that, but how many people would like to really put it on? I wear specs, so do I really want to wear that? Or do I really want to have an interactive screen and I have a treadmill and I want to run on it, and it moves and paces along with the way I am moving in that reality. So there are a lot of things happening, but it starts from who's your consumer, what is he interested in, rather than seeing some technology somewhere and then trying to fit that technology into your store or maybe somewhere else. So creating a loop area of running in some places in the city where people can really try out your new launch. So there are a lot of things happening. You can have sensors, but ultimately it boils down to what you want to do with the consumer where.
Sure. Sure, coming to you, you've got Apple stores, very iconic brand, but at the same time, store is very simple. There's not a lot going on in the store other than the product, right? Because Apple is very different, so they've not crowded the stores with too many products. It's very simple. So, what is it that you guys do in your store, or the brand tells you to do, which is like to create that wow experience beyond what the product is already doing?
Right. So recently, we were actually, dwelling on this, that how do we raise the standards of customer experience, as well as how do we kind of, portray Apple in the best possible lights. And we were working on a particular idea, which was actually, which was a suggestion by our AI assistant, which we deployed across all our point of sales to understand our customers' preferences and behavior better. So, and then after analyzing many recommendations and combinations that were presented to us, we conceptualized a space called Café Trésor, which was in the introduction, and which is a concept store for Apple, wherein we have curated experiences around the services that Apple has to offer in India. And we just open doors to our customers, and the early feedback is really good. They like the experiences.
So what is the store doing? What is different?
Well, it's not a store. It's not very mechanical. You just don't go there to buy. You go there. You can have, it's a cafe, so you can enjoy a coffee. You can work out of there. And we have curated certain experiences around Apple services, which they can
fantastic!
experience.
Yeah.
And it's not a place where you just go to shop and, you just check out.
So you can actually, so you got
Yeah.
almost workstations and you can actually work there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's, the early signs are really good. We have, the customers like the experiences that we've curated. They acknowledge the efficiency of the store staff. And thirdly, they love the ergonomic design of the store because, it kind of adds more value to the time. And for us as a brand, it's very important to know because they're the top 2-3% consumers of India. So if their time is very essential, and if they feel that we are adding more value to the time, we are in a good space.
Sure.
So I think it's good.
So Nihat, over to you. What is it something that some of the stuff that you're doing with your brands, both in India and abroad? What are some of the sort of customer experience and sort of the retail entertainment part that you are bringing in?
Thank you very much for the question. I mean, we also have very, very nice places. I mean, we have 3 brands, DS Damat and Tween.
Just put
So whoever go and visit one of our stores do enjoy themselves. I mean, because we have fantastic places, because once someone enters into our store, it doesn't matter if he is young or old, okay, because we are serving to all group of age. And we have very nice places within our stores. I mean, we serve coffees and teas and some appetizers within the stores. And because I mean, it's kind of it's not like just kind of business going there and buying something for yourself. I mean, people would like to enjoy themselves while buying something. So we prioritize giving them the best enjoyable moment as much as we do.
Okay, thanks.
Both in Turkey and abroad, because we are in 85 countries. So having that wide scale of operations in different countries, it gives you a good chance to better understand your customer. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Andrew, getting to you. So what is it that you guys are doing from a customer experience and talking about from an entertainment point of view? I think, and we'll get into analytics and other stuff.
So I'm now going to talk about Forever New. I've got a more interesting experience to share with everybody, and that's not from the fashion industry. I spent about some time in Royal Enfield managing the retail experiences globally, and it's an interesting thing that the company did. They bought some land in Goa, and they built it into an experience place. It's like a Portuguese villa in a pretty offbeat location in Baga. And what the company did is, what we created is a motorcycle store, a service workshop, and to top it all, a bar with a restaurant and a kitchen. Now one would say, and I've been in retail for about 25 years, and a lot of brands have come and gone, they've done that kind of stuff, but nobody's been able to really sustain it. So we were pretty determined that we're going to make this work, and we're going to perhaps create something which has never been done in India by a retail brand or a company before. And I really must tell you, because they're not in the fashion industry, so they don't get access to these forums. But in the last 1 year, and this was just until 6 weeks back, because I just joined Forever New 6 weeks back, we held over 120 music performances. And we took out our customers in Goa, and even tourists and travelers who would come by to Goa, not just bikers, but even families, on over 50, 60 weekend rides around the countryside. So we had a very big rental business, so we actually took licenses for 6, 7 rental bikes, as well as, we would loan out bikes from a service workshop in case somebody wanted to ride out. But that's not the only thing. How did we create stickiness? So with the local Goa customers, we created service workshops, repair your own bike workshops. And a lot of guys like to ride out to the mountains in the summer, because that's when the passes open up. So we would hold do-it-yourself workshops for them. We would get other adventure travelers to come down from different parts of the country to hold screenings of their movies, the shows, and share the experiences, how they would survive on the road. So these are just 2, 3 things that we did. What else did we do? We had a fine dining restaurant. We got some of the best servers from Goa who had spent eons in the industry. So they're not young, flashy kids. They were guys with families, some of them even pot-bellied, but who knew every nuance of a customer locally. So we took 35, 38, 40-year-old guys who were mature enough to handle kids, who would be able to get into conversation with customers. And we started out, I think in the beginning of 2018, with just about 25, 30 walk-ins a day on a property that took crores to build. And by the end of the year, this property had won the Best Cafe Award in the Premium Dining section in Goa. Imagine for a motorcycle company to build an F&B environment which is so lively and so entertaining with world-class food and quality was absolutely amazing. So what happened is, we did a lot of research. The whole idea was to build the motorcycle business and get this to become the epicenter for motorcycling and for people who are traveling, who are backpackers, to come into Goa. Our NPS score of the brand for Goa itself moved from 82 to 87%, which is the singlest ever shift for the brand ever. And this is all public knowledge. What I'm sharing with you is nothing confidential, so I can share it. But what that experience taught me and what we accomplished there was simply amazing. Because we've been talking about retail, theater and drama for the last 20 years. But here, there was somebody who was willing to put his money behind all that talk and allow us to make it to happen. And it busted a lot of myths that we cannot create retail drama in the stores. Of course, in my own current company, Forever New, we do a lot. We have a very active loyalty program. We are heavily moving into personalization of communication as of next week, where every customer, we will understand their needs, what they're planning to wear, what are the occasions coming up in their life, which party is she going for? Is she going for the polo? Does she like to go for the derby? Or is she going to be attending an embassy party? We'll have a style curator online to help her with the needs, or she is most welcome to come into the store and check out that gown or that dress which she like to wear for the next party. So we are setting up an army of style curators in every store, a layer above what we call fashion consultants, who will actually be trained on how to address her needs, how to accessorize. And a lot of brands have been trying this for many years. None of them have really succeeded that well because they're unable to sustain it. I think the trick is to get really passionate people on board and build very powerful training programs for them. And I'm a very, very strong proponent of employee happiness. If you have happy employees, if you take care of their needs, they are going to really put a lot of pride into work and for their love for the customer. So that's been my learning, and that's what I want to actually deploy in whatever business or customers we serve.
Sure, and I think that's a fantastic idea, that it's not just the store, but it's creating the community of practitioners, what people like Adidas and Apple have done successfully. You know, Adidas and Nike, they offer a lot of runs and sporting events. And, you know, when I went to New York, you could just go to a store and sign up for the run or for a program, and all free. But the objective is you build a huge community of practitioners who talk about products, who say this is working, not working, who try all the gadgets, and this is a great example of that. And Johnson, let's just go around.
Just quickly, I just want to add, like you said about community, at the end of the day, we have to understand it's in our genetic makeup to be part of a tribe. We are tribal in our primal needs. And if you understand the need of the customer, that they need to be part of that community, whether it's a biker community, a fashion community, a photographer community, you've got the customer, you know. And that's been one of the learnings from my journey as a cyclist in the last 8-9 years, that there is so much joy and there's so much to be done when you create communities.
Absolutely.
Building businesses around communities is the secret to success,
Sure,
actually.
sure. So Johnson, coming to you, just talk about what you're doing in the watches category. Very exciting. It's not just watches, but it's accessories as well. So just how do you guys...
So very quickly, let's understand the buying process. Buying is no longer a linear, boring process. Nobody is coming into the store purely to buy a product because they can just do that with the click of a button. So why are they spending time in that store? That's valuable time. And I think if we understand that there is valuable time being invested by the consumer in the store, then I think that gives us the seed to understand what we need to provide to the customer. And it's not really technology that makes the difference. Engraving a watch is not really that high-tech. I mean, you don't need robotics and artificial intelligence to engrave a watch. But 80% of all the watches that we sell in our stores are engraved because everybody buys a watch for some occasion or the other. He buys it for a birthday, buys it for a gift, buys it for his girlfriend, buys it for his spouse, whatever it is, there is a reason to buy, and they encapsulate that. So I think let's keep technology as one of the elements, but let's just look at the consumer and say, what does this consumer want that will make this visit to the store more interesting? And I think that's the core of what we're trying to do. One of the most successful programs we've had is getting a lot of serious people sitting down and drawing their own tin box. So we normally have fossil tin boxes which are colorful, but we bought in a whole bunch of plain white tin boxes and gave them a bunch of marker pens and told them, hey, this is your time, you can do whatever you want and make your own tin box. We didn't make it for them, they made it for themselves, and they had a blast of a time. So I think if you keep the consumer at the base of what we are trying to do, we will find those things that will keep that consumer engaged.
So I think that's a very interesting point. We never, and I always do this. Whenever I'm leaving the store, I always thank the shop. And I'm saying, like, actually, you should be thanking me because I just invested some time in your store. But we are so habitual of thanking the guy because he actually spoke to us, given the customer experience journeys we've come from. But I think that's a very important element. The shopper has already invested time by visiting your store. And I was reading somewhere that if you start measuring store, your effectivity by satisfaction per square foot rather than only sales per square foot, it's a good measure to say, can we really give that experience? And guys already invested by walking in. What are we doing to make that experience better? So Savi, over to you. Savi does a lot of work, very exciting work, creating in the cosmetics category, which anyway is a very, very interesting place. He's rebranded the whole color bar business. Also build up these color bar buses, which are going to different locations to do makeovers on the move. Very exciting idea. So Savi, over to you and just talk
Thanks, Ajit. I'm going to touch on 3 businesses that I run briefly. We have gone old school. We've gone to really not trying to sell something, but trying to make the customer feel good. And in life, people want to feel good. The small things, for example, in Modi Care, which is a direct selling company, we've had 10x growth in the last 3 years. We were 96 crores 3 years ago, and this year we closed at 940 crores. And that has only been possible because all we've done is making sure that the common man who comes in goes back with something to do, goes back with a dream, goes back to say that I can achieve my dream. And there's one principle that I lead in, or believe in, which is Soch badlo, khud ko badlo, dunya badlo. And it's just the soch that is something that drives us. Color bar, like I said, we have actually, we're the underdogs. I mean, fighting the Macs of the world, the L'Oreal of the world, the Lancoms of the world. And there again, we've changed the model to say, let's celebrate women. No longer get 6 shades of foundation to cover the whole universe. I mean, today, there are 34 shades of skin tones in the world, including India. So we are now making 34 shades of foundation. So you're saying that you are beautiful just the way you are. It just doesn't matter. And this is not something that most companies do. Again, the whole thing is, come into a store, we'll do your makeover, and you don't need to buy anything. And I mean, we launched 1 month ago 1,001 nail polishes, which is largest launch in the world. Because we're saying if you have a color need, we have it. Don't try to mix it. And we're now launching make your own lipstick, make your own foundation, make your own eyeshadow.
And these can be done in the store, right?
In the store. Because you see, foundation, most women don't get the right shade. Lipstick, they mix 2 shades. We think now we'll make your shade in 7 minutes. In 7 minutes, you can do your own eyeshadow. We will run it through you, but you can put the eyeshadow pan together on your own. In 24/7, this, like you said, thanking. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for coming into a store has been our core training need. I'm
going to try it for the next store.
Please do. I'm not adverse to technology, but we are using technology only to make the customer feel good. We are daylight 24/7, and the team really is. There's another concept called Meraki, which is a Greek word which says whatever you do, you put in some of your love and creativity in it. And we drive that extensively, starting from corporate. I don't think anybody works for me. I think everybody works for their company, the company that they own, which are the 3 companies I have. And I've said, we make money. You should have a better lifestyle. So we have promised everybody a Mercedes-Benz. If the company makes over budget, I will put a Mercedes-Benz in your door. Because it's your company, it's not mine. I've just been given the charge of being the title holder or the founder. And if you come into our office, and this is nothing to do with tech, it's got to do with being humane. I have 0 attrition. And I mean zero attrition. I have to kick out a person, but I have zero attrition. And that's, I don't know whether it's good or bad, but really, if you go to 24/7, you'll feel good. Again, we use tech, we use colors, we've used LED, LCD screens, but we're always looking at how we can get something more. I was asked a question on ROI. I don't know what that means. Because how do you put an ROI to feel good? How do you put an ROI to have an experience? And, you know, I have only one word of my team and my people. I don't know why I am crazy and I've been handled. God has given me a team of crazy people. They're all nutcases, right? I say, why do you believe in me? Why is it that if I have a crazy idea, you're going to say, yeah, great idea, and you do it. So I have a bunch of 4,000 nutcases in the company, and we're growing. And thanks to consumers that you all are here, visit 24/7, buy something. All the women use a lipstick. And if you want to change your life, join Modi Care.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. So just one. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you very much again. I mean, I completely agree with Mr. Samir. I mean, we have 3 brands, Damat, DS, and Tween. So everyone coming to our store, I mean, would definitely enjoy themselves, because when we are providing A to Z collection. So whoever visit our stores would definitely find a piece of wonderful product within our stores. But to be able to, let's say, give them the best moment in our stores, I mean, it's a high necessity for employees to be properly trained. I mean, it's not just good morning, good afternoon, or good evening issue. Because when I'm working for a fantastic company, having 3 brands under its portfolio, and operations in 85 countries. Meaning 85 countries, meaning 85 different profiles. So to be able to, let's say, provide the best service, you have to have high level of, let's say, training. I mean, you have to make it a kind of inner issue for yourself. That's it. Thank you very much.
Just quickly, just go around quickly. I think we've run out of time because of this. So I think it'd be good to just, and Vishal, we'll start with you. Tech, reality versus fiction. Just talk briefly on that, and then we'll get everybody to give their comments on that. We talk a lot about AI, AR, and VR, and you know, chatbots, but you know, the basic stuff still seems to be missing in most retail, right? You know, basic courtesies and customer, you know. And so just talk briefly about tech, you know, reality versus fiction, and what role you see analytics play. Quick sound bites from everybody, and then we'll try and wrap up with some questions.
It's an amazing question, and I'm thinking how I can be quick on this. Because analytics, data, and all these topics, in most of the companies, in my experience, it's in silo approach. You have a training app given or a tool in the hands of store staff, but that data is sitting somewhere else. What is happening to that? And is it marrying to the transaction data? So there are a lot of silos, number one. Number two, there are a lot of basic foundation stuff which most of the companies need to do before they embark on anything fancy, because that fancy will flop. It need to sustain, it need to drive a lot of value. So there is a world that is changing. Many companies are moving out of taking the standard products, and instead they are creating that suits them. Number two. Number three, that's a very big wave. Zara is one of that example. They have their everything in-house. Their ERP is in-house, their point of sale is in-house. In Indian brands, Fab India is one of those. Their transaction systems are all in-house. So there is a lot of leverage you get out of that, because the data is you are in control of things, number one. So AI and all these things. So imagine, so we use Watson analytics, Watson campaign in Adidas India. And globally we use a lot of other tools, Salesforce, so on and so forth. All these tools has all that power to tell you, whichever tool you take actually, that you have been buying this kind of a thing, and what is the next next best action you can have as a brand for that targeted consumer. So your communication, SMS, email, all these things are done to that many years back. Most of the companies have done it. But is your store staff, when that person lands in your store, is your store staff is aware that is this a customer? What's the value of that consumer? Okay, how do you link that together? So that is, so one side is fiction and one side is reality, and the person comes into your store looking at that email that, this is highly targeted, this is the thing that I'm going to buy. Okay, and it's available in the store. When he lands up there, that's the reality. And what hits him there in that moment, it tells you whether you have stitched the entire consumer journey or not.
Absolutely. So that moment of truth, right? When the customer actually lands on the door, after all the things you do, are you able to satisfy that customer, just from your point of view, Shaurya?
Well, I would resonate completely with Vishal out here. Like, even in my organization, everything, all our initiatives in terms of tech are, running in silos. So it's like my prerogative is to how to get that all integrated onto one, our ERP, our point of sale. So we've been able to get a couple of them to integrate, which we've seen significant improvements since we integrated that particular platform onto our point of sale. So I would say, it's a long journey, but it's an interesting place to be.
Okay. Newt, quickly, last few thoughts on that.
Thank you very much. We have our own ERP. So it's quite important for us because, speaking of the portfolio management, we are providing high quality service within our stores. So we have to know customers in the best way possible. Okay, so if someone lands in our store, I completely agree with these two gentlemen, and we have to know their let's say, purchasing preferences, their tendencies, the way they do their business, they do shopping within our stores. So we have to be well armed before providing a service to them. Okay.
Absolutely. So capturing that whole data and that.
Exactly. We have to know that because we are not solely one specific group, target groups. Okay. Due to our system based on, let's say, the methodology of providing magic cards. Okay. We are addressing to different types of customers having different types of bodies. Okay. Physical features. So. It's quite important to have, let's say, strong CRM. You're always expected to, let's say, have a very strong, let's say, portfolio management system within your entire company. You have to know your customer comes first, your customer. You're in a position to expect it to give a clear message to your staff. And the final thing that I would say is your staff should be highly and properly trained to be able to give the best possible service within your stores.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Can't agree more. Dhruv, over to you.
Yeah, I agree with almost everything that's been said, and there's nothing to disagree upon. We all know that people are the enabling factor in every customer experience that occurs on the floor. It's the moment of truth. But I just want to share something which I sort of picked up. In one of the organizations that I worked in listening to the consumer, we had a room called the Social Media Command Center with 20 screens on it. And there are a bunch of 20 kids inside that room who are watching social media day in and day out, picking up customer reviews, listening to customers what they're saying on various forums. And then there used to be a social media report coming out daily, which used to go to all the sales staff. We also used to actually use Google Business Reviews to see, very actively, to see what are our customers saying about our establishment, what is the service policy. And so one of the mandates that the teams had was to look at the reviews and respond to them on a daily basis. So I'm saying this is how you can use technology.
Fantastic.
Which is right there.
Absolutely.
And of course, we can keep talking about it, but this is when the rubber hits the road. And
this is real time, right?
This
so
is
you
real
listen
time.
every day and react to it.
Absolutely,
That's phenomenal.
yes.
Yeah? Johnson?
On a slightly different note here, there's so much technology available in the world today. The point is, what would you want to pick up and apply to your business? For that, I have just 3 elements that I look at. Does it add value to your consumer? Does it add value to the company? Does it add value to the environment? And if the answer for any of this is no, don't touch the technology because it's not going to help you finally in the process. So just one aspect of looking at it. But all of the stuff that we spoke about in terms of what is reality, what is myth, is all absolutely on board. Yeah.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. You know, putting customer back in the center. And Samir, quick.
I'm really sorry to all the gentlemen because I disagree with all of you. Is there a word called fiction? If there's a word called fiction, then we won't be sitting here saying this is a great shoe, this is a great product. I only believe that the word is dream, and every dream can be converted into reality if you want to convert it. You need to believe in that dream. And the first part is that I can tell you guys 3 technologies. If you, one is dream into reality. So don't stop dreaming, don't stop thinking. Second is bring the miracle in your life. Do it with love and creativity. Soch badlo, khud ko badlo, dunya badlo. And third is no technology, no amount of good-looking stores, good-looking men, good-looking women. It's just a good smile, which goes a million miles. And Rajat, we in India are the worst. We have no manners. You open a door for somebody, he won't say thank you.
Yeah.
He will pass, 5 other people will pass, and like you're the Darban. So it took us a long time to actually train our people, because our main consumer first is our employees, but they also buy. It's not, I don't even care whether somebody else comes in SEC A, B, C. They will come in if my team is happy. So I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I take some points from you, which I definitely will use. But I don't know big data. I don't understand big data. In fact, my team is teaching me Instagram. My daughter says, Dad, don't put too many hashtags. I said, why? People will get confused. Only tweet at 9 p.m. because that's when most people are. I say, yeah, okay, fine. So I'm having difficulty in using tech. I'm a gadget freak. Analytics क्या है? मालूम क्या है यार? कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. चलो.
Well, listen, I think we had a long list of points to discuss, but very interesting panel. While you may disagree, but you actually agreed that people are the center of everything, consumer and people. So actually, it's a fact. Thank you, everybody. I think we are badly out of time, so I don't think we have time
thank
for
you so much,
any
Mr.
questions.
Wahi.
But do we have time for 1 or 2 questions? Or
We're really running over time.
one lucky question, if there is one. One. So just. Okay, one quick question there. Only one. Introduce yourself and just ask. And make it a question, yeah, please, not a
please
statement.
also identify who you're asking the question from.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Abhay Gupta. I run and operate Luxury Connect and Luxury Connect.
Just put the mic closer to you. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll repeat myself. My name is Abhay Gupta. I operate in the luxury space and also operate India's only luxury business school. My question is to the entire panel, because I see majority of you are from the fashion or lifestyle space, except one. The question is related to the current consumer, the consumer Z. He's more into circular economy, he's more into environment, he's more into sustainability. How is technology helping, and how are your brands adopting into that consumer need of technology and circular economy?
Very long question, so we'll address one part of it. Anybody wants to have a go at it? So how is technology helping with sustainability? Anybody wants to address that? Yeah. So Vishal, why don't you go? Adidas is a very highly sustainable firm globally, so we'll get him to answer that.
So there is a sustainability index ratings that comes out every year globally for retailers, right from polybag usage to so many. There are a lot of parameters. Your question is about how is technology helping? Technology is basically helping a lot in terms of telling companies how much non-sustainable products they are using, number one, giving that intelligence feedback in the whole value chain. Second, technology is really helping in terms of the manufacturing process, the use of robotics and cutting the waste and so on and so forth, and then the recyclability of the product after you have used it. So actually, it's maybe I would suggest maybe go online, read more about it. There is a lot of work happening on this space. A lot of brands are really helping, and in fact, people and brands are encouraging consumers, after you have used your suit or clothes or whatever it is, to bring that to store, because if you are doing a pickup, you are adding more carbon in the whole process. why don't you, whenever you are coming next, you bring your used clothes, drop it. So a lot of stuff is happening actually in this. So it's not just the technology, it's like the whole value chain.
It helps you track everything, right? And report it. So that's the most important thing. On that note, we will finish. Thank you everybody for listening to us pre-lunch. Always a difficult time. But thank you for your time. Thank you for the panelists for excellent session. Sorry we ran out of the questions, but thanks everybody. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for steering this very insightful discussion. Mr. Bhai, I would request you to please present our speakers with a memento from our side. It's a small token of our appreciation. I would request you to please present Mr. Sameer Modi, Managing Director, Modi Enterprises, with a memento from our side. For taking the time out to attend this session, to share with us his insights. Like he said, he wants his customer to feel good about themselves, and the company is working along with the customer to feel good. I would also request you to give a memento to Mr. Johnson Verghese, the Managing Director at Fossil India. Mr. Verghese has brought out how important it is to have smart stores, and that is what will be the winning strategy for retail going ahead. I request you to give a memento to Mr. Dhruv Bogra, Country Manager for Revenue India, Middle East and Southeast Asia. Please put your hands together and give a round of applause to our speakers. Please present a memento to Mr. Nikhat Onuk, the International Business Development Director at Orca Holdings, the Turkish luxury branded menswear retailer. I would request you to give a memento to Mr. Vishal Kapil, IT Director, Emerging Markets at Adidas. I would request you to also give a memento to Mr. Shaurya Seth, Managing Director at Tresor Systems. Tresor is managing concept stores for Apple, where experiences around the product is the key word. I would request Ms. Ritu Maria to please come on stage and present a memento to Mr. Wahi for conducting such an interesting discussion. A round of applause for our speakers and our session's moderator, Mr. Wahi. I would request all of you to please gather around for a group photograph. A round of applause for our speakers, please. As you attend the 8th Annual Indian Retail and E-Retail Congress 2019, don't forget to tweet about all that you love today with IREC, with the hashtag IREC 2019. Post your selfies, also your networking moments with co-retailers.